Brace yourselves, Earthlings, because it seems Elon Musk is taking mind over matter to a whole new level with his $10,000 brain chip. Because who needs privacy when you can have a microchip in your brain, right? But hey, before we volunteer as tribute for the cyborg revolution, let's ask ourselves, is this the dawn of a new era, or just the plot of a sci-fi blockbuster gone wrong? The year is 2024, and the war in Ukraine rages on 2 years after Russian forces first invaded the country. Both sides continue to suffer heavy casualties in fierce battles, though fighting has shifted from southern Ukraine more towards the east. Ukraine remains dependent on aid from Western allies, but further support is uncertain as U.S. Congress debates sending more military funding. Meanwhile, controversial health innovations are unfolding. Genetically engineered pigs are being raised to provide organs for human transplants in the future, and Elon Musk's Neuralink implanted its first brain chip, allowing thoughts to control computers. These stories highlight how technology is rapidly transforming healthcare and warfare, raising complex ethical questions. Why has the Russia-Ukraine war persisted so long, and what key factors will determine the outcome in the future? The Russia-Ukraine war has now dragged on for 2 grueling years due to several factors. Russia underestimated the level of resistance it would face from Ukrainian forces determined to defend their homeland at all costs. Extensive military and financial aid from Western nations have bolstered Ukraine's defenses. Russia's military shortcomings, like poor logistics and low troop morale, have weakened its invasion. In the future, the war's outcome will hinge on variables like whether Russia can address issues like corruption and conscription to strengthen its military. If Western aid to Ukraine remains robust or wanes, who gains the upper hand militarily in vicious battles in eastern regions, when and if negotiations might restart, and whether Ukraine can keep morale and unity high as the war's toll mounts. With both sides dug in, the stalemate may persist unless there are breakthroughs on the battlefield or diplomacy front. But the human costs of the prolonged conflict will continue to tragically mount. What are the main ethical concerns around using genetically engineered pigs as a source of human organ transplants? The prospect of using specially bred transgenic pigs to harvest organs for human transplant raises several ethical red flags. Using pigs solely as organ factories treats them as means rather than ends, failing to respect their intrinsic worth. Intensively farming pigs specifically for organ extraction could be considered unethical. Genetically engineering pigs via new tools like CRISPR has unknown risks. Altering complex organisms can have unpredictable results that impact animal and human health. Transplanting pig organs creates human-animal hybrids, crossing species barriers that some view as morally wrong. This creates concerns about risks like viral transmission. Relying heavily on pig organs for wealthy nations' transplants versus improving the allocation of existing donated human organs globally seems arguably unfair. A multi-billion-dollar pig organ industry driven by profits rather than ethical priorities could wrongly commodify life-saving transplants. Other options, like artificial organs or regenerative stem cell therapies, may prevent the need for transgenic pig farms down the line. While the organ shortage crisis is tragic and dire, exploiting transgenic pigs en masse raises many moral quandaries. Great care, caution, and transparent public debate are warranted before embracing this approach. What are some of the potential benefits and risks of implanting computer chips in human brains, as Neuralink is now doing? Potential benefits of brain chips include allowing paralyzed patients to control computers, wheelchairs, prosthetics, and devices using just their thoughts, restoring mobility and independence. Restoring speech and communication capacity for patients who have lost those abilities due to neurological conditions. Providing amputees finer control over robotic limbs that act like natural appendages. Enabling faster, more seamless fusion of AI, knowledge databases, and human cognition to enhance decision-making and productivity. Opening new avenues of mental health treatment using precise brain stimulation and monitoring. Creating novel avenues for human creativity and expression if brains can connect directly to digital media tools. Potential risks include brain tissue scarring or bleeding from the insertion of foreign devices and electrodes. Implanted devices could malfunction and damage brain tissue. Risk of hacking and security breaches manipulating people's thoughts, movements, and privacy. blurring of lines between human versus artificial intelligence, and loss of autonomy. Widening social, economic divides if expensive neural implants are only accessible to wealthy elite. Data from chips could be misused by employers, insurers, governments without patient consent. Potential unknown mental and neurological side effects from long-term integration of chips with brains. Brain-computer interface technology has inspiring applications but also perilous pitfalls. Rigorous testing and ethics reviews are essential to ensure neural implants augment human potential without jeopardizing health or privacy. The stakes could not be higher when tinkering with the human brain, the most complex entity in the known universe. Caution must be exercised. What are the pros and cons of drones being used for wildlife photography and research, as seen in the shark birth footage? Using drones allows unique aerial filming of wildlife behavior with minimal disruption. Drones provide perspectives not possible on the ground and enable monitoring of animals over large, remote areas. However, drones can still stress wildlife unaccustomed to engines overhead. Loud noise and shadows could alter the animal behavior patterns being studied. Drones risk crashing and harming animals or habitats. They require skilled piloting to avoid collisions. Most parks prohibit unauthorized drone use to protect ecosystems. While drones help gather valuable data on rare species and events like shark births unobtrusively, conscientious protocols and policies are needed to prevent unintended harm. How could brain-computer interfaces potentially be misused for unethical ends if not carefully regulated? Neural implants could enable malicious actors to access, surveil, manipulate, or sabotage people's thoughts without consent. Government agencies could conceivably use these to interrogate prisoners, control dissidents, or worse. Hackers could hijack neural signals and literally hack people's minds. Advertisers may invade mental privacy or use mood manipulation. Social scores based on thought patterns could limit freedom. Without strict security and ethical oversight, these technologies could usher in frightening violations of human rights and cognitive liberties. Safeguarding human dignity and equality must be central when expanding access to the human mind. What are some ways average citizens can assist Ukraine from abroad? Donating to reputable humanitarian groups providing medical, food aid, and resettlement assistance helps Ukrainians who are displaced internally or as refugees. Writing calling representatives in your government pushes leaders to continue military and reconstruction aid. Volunteering or fundraising for groups doing demining/infrastructure repairs accelerates rebuilding. Supporting Ukrainian artists, tourism, and businesses boost economic recovery. Reporting online disinformation combats damaging false narratives. Displaying Ukraine's flag and educating others spreads global solidarity. Even basic acts, like talking to friends in Ukraine via social media, uplift morale and defy isolation. We cannot stand idle while millions suffer. Any action, however small, that eases Ukrainians' burdens and upholds justice is worthwhile. How does the organ shortage crisis disproportionately impact marginalized communities? Wealth, health insurance, ethnicity, geography, and ability to advocate for oneself greatly shape access to scarce donated organs. Uninsured and lower-income patients tend to be deprioritized on wait lists. Minority patients often face more hurdles in getting properly matched. Rural residents may lack proximity to suitable hospitals and specialists. Undocumented immigrants can be barred from transplants at some centers. Disabled patients encounter barriers navigating complex systems. Additionally, policies like abstinence periods for those overcoming addiction restrict eligibility unfairly. Reform is urgently needed to maximize the fair, equitable distribution of organs, strictly based on medical urgency. If Neuralink's brain chip advances, who should oversee safety and ethical testing? Governments, the company itself, or independent bodies? Given the profound risks intrusive neurotechnology poses, independent ethics committees unbeholden to profit motives or political agendas should oversee human trials. Groups comprising diverse doctors, scientists, ethicists, patient advocates, and laypeople of all backgrounds would ideally provide objective oversight grounded in transparency, prudence, and human rights. Neuralink voluntarily consulting third-party reviewers would boost public trust. Ultimately, elected officials accountable to voters must enact regulations guiding this research in the public's interest. But no single entity alone, industry, government, or academia, can be fully entrusted with safely ushering such socially disruptive innovations into society. A system of democratic checks and balances with ethical lodestars may help steer development toward equitable ends, improving lives while avoiding potential abuses. And that's a wrap on our journey through the world of Elon Musk's brain chip extravaganza. Before you go uploading your consciousness to the cloud, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to stay updated on all things futuristic, and ring that notification bell to join us on our next adventure. Remember, the future is now, but let's make sure it's a future worth plugging into. Until next time, keep dreaming big and thinking even bigger.